What's up, YouTube world? So today I wanted to share just one more video, right, regarding PMO. Just wanted to speak about how PMO, and also like an addiction, right, and how it relates to like things like momentum and the momentum of an addiction, or like how law of attraction comes into play and things like that, right? So there's two ways on about this matter, right? Like one of it is like your thought patterns, right, or your attention or your airtime you're thinking about the subject of PMO or addiction that you're trying to break free of. And one more is like the actual behavior itself, like the action, right, that you do, that you perform an addiction or PMO on, right? So there's like the thought, your thoughts, and also your actions, right? So there's two ways of looking at it. So like regarding the thoughts and how much airtime you're giving to the subject of PMO, or like trying to quit PMO, or like trying to going on nofap, right? Like back in the days, I spent so much of like my thoughts, the subject of nofap was so dominant in my thought patterns, right, that it's like I like think about nofap and how not to relapse, and then I watch lots of nofap videos, and I made videos talking about nofap. So the whole nofap thing was a very strong like momentum going, right, on that subject. And it, the worst part was, it's actually a subject that I don't feel too good about, right, because I relapsed so many times. So in the past, I sort of got sucked into the like this 90-day challenge, right? I think you've seen my older videos, right? I'm so into the 90-day challenge, right, that it's like whenever I relapse or whenever I couldn't make it to 90 days, right, that I went into sort of like self-depreciation, like felt like a failure, right? You just can't, like, it seems like such a simple thing to do, just to go 90 days with no fab, right? But it's just that there was so much of failure on my part, right, that the whole subject of relapsing and failing and no fab, so it became like like sort of a negative force, right, within me, like a negative energy, right? So whenever I think about no PMO or PMO, that subject, it triggers that negative energy that's within me, right? And I started building, there was so much of strong momentum, right? The more I think about it, the more I fail, and then I think about it more, I relapse again. So there's just there was a strong momentum that I maybe like unknowingly built, right, within me in the past. So right now, if you're like stuck at home, right, for this coronavirus, staying at home on lockdown or things like that, right? So go and check out Abraham Hicks talks about addiction, right? I think there's a bunch of it on YouTube. So like how she, or how Abraham explains it, right, which is something, in my experience, it's the best way to look at an addiction, or how to release an addiction, right? So like when you talk about law of attraction, right, you have to, along with it, you have to put, like, there is a very important word that has to be associated with law of attraction, I feel like, the word momentum, right? So it's like a momentum starts to build, right, when you want to go after something, or when you're thinking about something. It's like you're building the momentum, and then that momentum starts to get stronger and stronger thanks to law of attraction, right? So when you're trying to quit an addiction, the PMO, you just keep on building it more and more. It's trying to come into your experience, but then you're rejecting it. So the whole cycle of like you're working against your own momentum, right? It's like you have an internal fight within yourself almost. So like PMO or an addiction, right? Let's say you've built a momentum, like it became like a habit, right? And like you have managed to build a certain momentum regarding the, like, taking the action even, right? The whole cycle, you have built a quite strong momentum. So as you do it more, the wheel starts to turn faster and faster, right, within you. So like you start to do more and more of it, like more frequently, and then like the same rush that you got from day one, that means like a week later you might need more to get the same rush, right? So start building that momentum stronger and stronger, right? And then like suddenly when you stop, right, when you go cold turkey, right, like what I was doing back in the days, just cold turkey, right, go for 90 days. So I find that it never really works, because that the wheel of PMO was actually, when I was trying to quit, it was actually a fast moving wheel, right? It's almost like, if you think about it, like a merry-go-round, right? And there are people sitting on the merry-go-round, and then it's spinning, like it doesn't spin so fast, right? It's like it's spinning, and then you're trying to immediately stop that wheel, right? Or the merry-go-round from spinning. So if you put a immediate stop on it, everybody's gonna fly off the the merry-go-round and fall to their death, right? In a way. So it's something similar like that, right? So when it comes to quitting an addiction or like PMO, right, when you put a full stop on it immediately, right, I find that it has a very bad consequence, especially in for your physical body, right? Because your body has been like, you've been built, it's sort of used to something that you've introduced to it, right? And then when you suddenly stop it, there is consequences, right? And you will feel it quite strongly in your body. Actually, your body will start to react, right, that it wants it. So if you're like on your PMO journey, or no PMO, no FAP, no FAP, whatever, man, an addiction you're trying to quit, right, I feel like we should measure progress based on like the frequency of, like how frequent you're doing it, right? Like let's say last year you've been doing PMO for like 3 times a week, let's say, and then this, like a few months later, you feel like you have reduced that, right, to once a week, and then eventually, like this year, you're like on PMO for like once a month or something like that, right? That means you have made a gradual reduction on the frequency of your relapse or PMO or substance abuse, whatever it is, right? So like you have reduced the frequency of the PMO, let's say, right? So if you have reduced it, I feel like that's how you should measure your progress, right? So you are doing it less and less. So like when the wheel, it's like, if you look at it as the wheel is turning fast, right, you can't immediately bring it to a stop. So you have to like gradually slow it down, right? Slow down the wheel, so that your body and your thought patterns and your body, your mind, your mental energy, everything can get used to this new momentum, right? That's gonna be slowed down a bit, and then you can like eventually, just when it's really slow moving, right, when the like frequency of your relapse, let's say, it's slowing down, then eventually I believe it will just fade off, right? That it doesn't have an impact in your daily life already. So like alternatively, you can start building momentum on other things, right? Other positive things, right? Or positive behaviors, positive actions, right? Like working out more, or doing more joyful things, right? Or things that make you feel good. You start build a new momentum, right? Like initially, like even like working out, right? Maybe in the beginning, if you want to start that wheel to turn, right, that to build that momentum, initially it takes a little effort, right? You have to push yourself a little bit to make the wheel to become like automatic, right? So initially it might be hard. So once you start building that new momentum, right, it just gets easier and easier to work out more, to do better, make better use of your time, right? Instead of PMO or doing some addiction or addictive behavior, right? So once you're like much better at like building a momentum on positive behavior, right? Or you're doing more positive things, you're feeling good more, you are enjoying yourself more throughout your day, right? So you start to build that momentum, and then you find that you can, when you're feeling good, when you're in a good vibe, you you can come into alignment with your own higher self, right? That means you're in sync with your God self, right? So like when you do this more and more, you crave for that connection again, right? It's like the whole reason you did some sort of like even PMO, right? The whole reason you did it is because you wanted to feel better and you wanted to feel in sync, right? You didn't want to be like feeling down and things like that. It's something to boost up your emotional, to like boost you up the emotional scale, right? Anyways, I think this video is long enough. Until my next video, peace out.